All right, guys, so we have some crazy earnings this week. Probably going to be one of my most busiest weeks. I'm going to be trying to do as much videos as I can with a lot of great content. But on Monday, we have Tesla, we have Logitech, and we have Hasbro. And I want to share what my overall thoughts are of what investors should keep an eye out. Most of you guys are probably very familiar with Tesla. Logitech and Hasbro, I want to say, are two unknown companies. Maybe not unknown, unpopular, right? But Logitech, if you are a Corsair holder, Logitech earnings might be something to take a look at. Hasbro, I want to say, is one that's super boring. But after taking a quick look at it, there's a lot of stuff in there that I personally didn't know that makes it a lot more exciting. So let's get started. Also, before we go, actually, guys, let me know in the comments below, what are some of the stocks you want me to do earnings on this week? There's a lot of big players we can see from this list. All right, so let's start off with Tesla. They report Monday after close. Their earnings close is scheduled for around 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. And we can see from its 52-week high closing, the stock is down roughly 27%. So definitely seeing quite a correction. Another thing I would say, I want to say since probably March 3rd, the stock price hasn't really moved much. It's been very volatile, but it hasn't really moved much outside of where it's at right now. Maybe creating a nice amount of support level. Investors are just waiting to see. So the great thing about Tesla is on July 2nd, a few weeks ago, they kind of gave us already their production numbers and the delivery numbers. They did about 206,000 production, 201 in deliveries. This is a huge beat compared to just the previous quarter and an even bigger beat compared to same time last year. So we already know a lot of what's going to happen in the earnings. I want to say those are probably the strongest numbers to expect. But I think investors should keep an eye on the followings. Right now, there has been some recent news that's saying, hey, maybe the chip shortage on automobile industry is easing down a bit. So I think investors should definitely keep an eye on their earnings call. Listen, hey, how is the chip shortage affecting the company? Other things I think investors should keep an eye out on their earnings calls. Are there any form of upcoming delays right now? Is everything going good, right? Is there EV battery production going good? Is chip shortage still doing well for Tesla? So delays and any price hikes are things investors should keep an eye out. Other things is probably going to be about just their factories worldwide. How are they going? How's production happening and stuff like that? Right, so the second company I want to take a quick look at is Logitech. And like I mentioned, most people don't really own Logitech. It's not a very popular stock, but Corsair is, so it might be one to keep an eye out because Logitech is somewhat of a competitor to Corsair, and depending how they're doing, can kind of give us some insight on Corsair. They sell things like mice, keyboards, streaming cameras, video conferencing cameras, headsets, mobile devices, and so much more. So Logitech right now, from its 52-week high, the stock is down roughly 13, I think it was higher than that, about 13%, right? Currently has a market cap of $20.1 billion roughly. And besides those products that they sell, Logitech has a nice amount of different small companies like Astro that sells gaming headsets. A lot of big players probably own these types of headsets, controllers, mixed amps. They also own Blue, which is a huge microphone. You might see them in a lot of YouTubers that you watch. They probably use a Blue Yeti microphone. So they're in, for example, for the game streamers, for the YouTubers, for the podcasters, for the music makers, and for the people working from home. The next company they own is Ultimate Ears. This is a big speaker and kind of music audio equipment company. They own like Boom, Mega Boom. Most of you have probably seen them in some retail stores. They also own Jaybird, right? So Jaybird is more of like headphones that are used for people who exercise, work out, outdoor. So that's the main people that they hit for. So Logitech, I want to say they did give us a full year outlook for the 2022. This is going to be their Q1 of 2022. They expect for the full year somewhere between -5% to +5% revenue growth. So not a huge growth monster here, but it's something interesting to note is Intel recently reported their earnings and the computer segment was up about 6% compared to the same time last year. And they're saying that they're still seeing strong demand from the PC products. So if Intel is seeing strong demand in PC products, I'm going to guess that Logitech and maybe Corsair are still going to see strong numbers in their hardware as well. So the final company I want to take a quick look at is Hasbro. And Hasbro, I think they report Monday morning. Yes, so this is probably the first stock I should have talked about. But Hasbro, you might know it from just the gaming company, the toys and games that they own, like Nerf, Super Soakers, and all this stuff. Some of the action figures, Monopoly, some of the board games. But they do so much more than that. And it's impressive how they are evolving. I really like when companies continue to innovate and don't stick with what they're just known for. Eventually, I feel they're going to be known for so much more. But let's take a quick look. Hasbro, from its 52-week high, the stock is down roughly 7.58%. Not a big correction. I mean, people are still buying out toys, even talks with high interest. This isn't a company that you expect to do bad, right? Kids are still going to want toys. Parents are still going to want to buy stuff for their kids. Right now, you also get a nice dividend with Hasbro. I think this is the only one that actually Logitech gives you a dividend as well. But Hasbro gives you one closer to 3% at these levels. So pretty impressive. Like I mentioned, right, Hasbro is known for so much more than that. Right now, you guys probably know it for their toys and games and the way that they license their consumer products. But they're kind of moving into like the digital gaming, and we're going to see some crazy games that they own and some crazy games that they are coming up with, and also with TV and film and digital shorts. They have some shows on Netflix, and I think it's pretty impressive how they're doing. In their same time last year, they reported only a 1% revenue growth. So you'll be like, Jose, why are we talking about this company? This is a slow grower. But if we take a look at their previous quarter, their TV, film, and entertainment was down 34% compared to the same time last year. And this is really big because this was their second biggest segment a year ago, right, in 2020. And obviously TV declines are due to theaters closing and timing of deliveries planned for later this year. So even with that huge drop, they were still able to see 1% revenue growth. Now as things are opening back up, I do believe we might see some heavier growth on the company. Maybe not this quarter, because this is still from, I want to say there's still some things closed down when this quarter two happened. But for the upcoming quarter, I do believe they're going to expect high growth. For those not familiar with Hasbro, they also owned Wizards of the Coast. Maybe some of you guys might know Magic the Gathering. This is probably one of the largest trading card games online. They also have many mobile games and PC games. They own Wizards, so a good portion of revenue does come from there. Like I mentioned, they are doing stuff on Netflix. For example, upcoming in July, I think July 30th, Netflix is releasing their next part of the Transformer series, War on Cybertron Kingdom. And yes, this is coming out July 29th. So this is a company expanding into different markets. Transformers is a portion owned by, they are owned by Hasbro, right? And some other companies based on Transformers by Hasbro and Takara Autonomy. But another thing, this is actually created by one of their companies. So distributors of this Transformers game is Entertainment One. Hasbro actually acquired Entertainment One a few years ago, which kind of gave them a video studio place, and then also gave me a gaming studio place. The also addition of Wizards of the Coast also gave them some form of video game studio as well. So on recently, June 22nd of 2021, they released a game based on their Dungeons and Dragons game, and this is sold for PlayStation, Xbox, and all these other PC platforms. Sold for about $39. This was created by Tuku Games, and this is a subsidiary of Wizards of the Coast, which is a video game developer. Again, this is owned by Hasbro. Not only that, they do kind of work in the esports world, sometimes just toys, right? With Fortnite, look at these toys that they have. They are on pre-order right now and are sold out. The Fortnite Monopoly sold out. So they're definitely entering a huge market, I believe, and they're continuing to innovate it. Now, this is some recent news. I actually just saw this a few days ago on YouTube ads. Nerf is kind of coming out. Nerf is owned by Hasbro, coming out with a virtual reality game. And this virtual reality game is going to come out on Facebook, Oculus platform. Next, they're also working with other companies like Roblox. For example, if you buy a specific Nerf shooter or Nerf blaster, you can you get a digital code and you'll be able to get that same blaster on Roblox and use it. So Hasbro is doing amazing. They are also developing an augmented reality transformer game developed by Niantic. You guys might know Pokemon Go, a super popular game, and they are expected to do a soft launch in selected countries soon, and the global launch is planned for later this year. So now let's take a quick look at technicals. Logitech not overextended, Tesla not overextended, Hasbro not overextended. I just want to make sure that there wasn't any excitement in the stock prices right now. Obviously this doesn't tell us where the direction is going to go. I just want to say, hey, I don't want these to be overextended right now. Now if I want to take a quick look at valuation metrics, Logitech right now seems to be a bit overvalued compared to where it's been in the past. Taking a look at forward EV to EBITDA ratio, Tesla seems to be very much like its stock price. It's not as cheap as it's been before, but it's a lot lower than its peak, so I'm kind of liking it. Hasbro is probably my favorite. It's super boring, but it's at same values kind of seen in the early of January of 2020. So I believe Hasbro, they are innovating into some crazy moves. Hasbro, hopefully they don't make huge gains. If they don't, might be something I might be taking an eye on. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good night, and see you next time.